So here's a program. We're gonna need to include string vectors, and then we used classes. Our class was called wages, and then here we have our public and private members, and we have a default constructor function, and we just set all the member variables to 0. Here we have wages set name. It asks for the employee name, and we got cin.ignore, so that if you press the enter key, it doesn't just automatically end the code. So then we get line cin name, so that we get the entire name if they put first and last or something like that. Then we have set dollars per hour. It asks the user how much the employee makes an hour, and it specifically asks for the name of the employee that was inputted. Here we set total earnings, which is amount week 1 times dollars per hour. So the amount week 1 and amount week 2 is the hours that the employee worked. And here get name, we just return the name. Get dollars per hour, we just return dollars per hour. Get dollars week 1, that's the amount week 1 worked, the hours times the how much they make per week. Same goes for week 2. Then we get total earnings by returning total earnings. Afterwards, we set the amount week 1. Here we make variables where we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which are just strings. Then doubles for clock in and clock out. Boolean done equals false. We're going to do a do loop later on. Multiple hours equals true to see if they worked multiple hours in a day. And then string is just the response that they put in. And then amount week 1 is equal to 0. And the reason we did this is because we're going to have a for loop later working with vectors that's going to need to set the amount equal to 0, like when you're having multiple employees. So here the program, we see out week 1 just to format it. And then here's our do loop. We ask, did they work on Monday? Here it asks yes, 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 or yes. Any other answer, it'll go into the next if statement for the next day. And basically every single day of the week is exactly like Monday. So it asks what time they clocked in, and then we see in to clock in. Then what time did they clock out? We see in to clock out. And we calculated their hours was subtracting clock out by clock in, and then adding it to the current value of whatever amount week 1 is. And since we're starting on Monday, it should be 0, and then you add it into 0, and whatever they answer will add into that value. Same goes for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all days of the week. Then you have, are you done for the hours of Monday? The user will put in a response yes or no. So if they answer no, then it'll go back up and then let you add in more hours for Monday. And then if it's false, it'll just continue on to the next statement. Same goes for Tuesday, rest of the week. And then basically the next member function is set amount week 2, which works exactly the same way. And then at the end, we'll just add both of the hours to get the complete total wages. So it's get dollars amount week 1, dollars per hour. And then for total earnings, we get amount week 1, dollars per hour, plus amount week 2, dollars per hour. And that's how you get total earnings. So that's basically how the program works for one employee. But in order to have multiple employees, one of the problems we faced was finding out how to make multiple employees. And the way we did that was making a vector of employees. It's a new vector of employees. Here we set wages class for a new employee. And then we ask how many employees do you want to input. Then we use that for the employee size of the vector, and then we put it into employee size. And then here's the for loop that will allow us to do multiple employees. So here we set name, set dollars, set amount per week 1, and then set amount per week 2, and set total earnings. And this is why we had to have amount week 1 equal to 0 in the member function, because the for loop will always carry the value of the previous employee. So in order to stop that from happening, we had to give the variable a value of 0 so that it wouldn't carry on the value from the previous employee. And then here is basically just a print vector function, and then we just go into the vector, and then we print out the employee and then I plus 1. Since I is starting at 0, we add 1 in order to have it say employee 1. Then we go down, we just write out week 1, see out week 1. Then here we show the employees' earnings for week 1. And here you can see that the new vector employee I, and as it iterates, it'll just keep going through the employees, what they got for week 1. Same goes for week 2. And then we add the total earnings at the end of the week for get total earnings. And then once we get to the main function, we see that there's only 3 lines of code that needs to be made. So we make a vector wages of new vector employees, and then we use the function fill vector, and then we input the new vector of employees as its parameter, and then we print the vector of new vector employees, and then we return 0. So now I'm going to run the function, show you guys how it works. So here it's going to ask how many employees do you want. You can input as many as you want, or for the sake of time, I'm only going to put 2. 2. What is the employee name? I'm going to put Jeff. How much does Jeff make an hour in dollars? Let's just say he makes $10 an hour. Did he work on Monday? Let's say yes. What time did he clock in? So since it works on a 24-hour period, you can go from 0 to 24. So I'll just input 10. I'm going to say he clocked out at 14. Are you done for the hours for Monday? And let's say he clocked out, but he wants to clock back in. I'll put, are you done for the hours of Monday? I'm going to put no. So then what time did he clock in? I'll say clock back in at 15. And then he clocked out at 17. And then, are you done for the hours of Monday? It's going to keep asking you, so once you're done, you can just say yes. And the rest of the weeks work exactly the same, so I'm just going to put, did they work on Monday? No. No. And then, did they work on Monday? I'll just say yes again. What time did they clock in? I'm going to put 3. Clocked out at 9. And we already saw that this works, so I'm going to just put, yes, I am done. And what is the name of the employee? I'm going to say the second employee's name is Bob. He makes, let's just switch it up, $12 an hour. And did they work on Monday? Let's say yes, they did. What time did they clock in? Let's just do the same time, 10, 14. And we already saw that this works, but just to prove that it works, I'm going to say, are you done for the hours of Monday? I'm going to say no. Clock in. Let's do the same time, 15, 17. Are you done for the hours of Monday? I'm going to say yes. Did they work on Monday? Let's say yes, they did. What time did they clock in? I don't know, let's just say 6, then 8. Yes, no. And there you go. We get employee 1, week 1, and it tells you Jeff earned $60, and if my math is correct, let's see, 4 to 6 for week 1, that's 60 because he earns $10 an hour, and then 60 for week 2, yeah, because 9 minus 3, 6, that's 10, 120, that looks good. And then for Bob, for 6, but Bob makes $12 an hour, so 6 times 12 is 72. And then for Monday, he only worked 2 hours, so 2 times 12 is 24. And 24 plus 72 equals 96. So it looks like it works for both employees. And no matter how many times you do it, it should work for any amount of employees you want to do.